Okay, so welcome back. So I'm gonna pick up from where we stopped in the last video. So if you notice from here, you realize that these areas were automatically created. I'm talking about the main task, the main program, and the main routine. So they were automatically created by just creating this project. So we could modify our main task, our main program, and our main routine to actually reflect our application. So we'll first of all modify our default main task area. So what we can do right now is to right click and then come to properties. All right, so this is the properties bubble, and here we can actually edit the name of our main task. So we could actually call this, let me call this tank control task. Tank control task. So you could also use underscores to write your the name of your task. So here we could just describe this as let's just call it a tank control task. All right, so once that is done, we can now configure. So we can come to the configuration tab, and then you see some other details here. So the type of task here, it's either going to be a continuous or a periodic or an event task. So in Studio 5000, and I'm also sure in Logix 5000, the total number of tasks in a program depends on the type of controller. So, and in this Logix designer, the total number of continuous tasks that can exist in a project is 1. That's the total number you can. So if a controller has 32 continuous tasks to execute, or tasks to execute rather. So only one can be a continuous task. The others will have to be periodic tasks. So we have this watchdog here, but we're going to leave this at continuous. So we have the watchdog here set at 500 milliseconds. So the watchdog parameter actually tells how long a task can run before triggering a major controller fault. So that's just what this watchdog is about. So for now, since we are still building, we can't actually determine. So we'll just leave it as it is. So we will click apply and then okay. So if you look at where we had our main task, now you're seeing it's carrying tank control task. And if you look closely, you're going to see this icon here. It looks like something that is rotating. So that's to show you that that is a continuous task. All right. And like I said earlier, the naming conventions are they are actually very, very important, because these are like a form of documentation that can help you program more efficiently, improve your troubleshooting and speed, and also ensure safety, which is very, very important. As a PLC programmer, you need to ensure your programs have good safety. So to create a new task, you have to come to the master task folder. Let me put it that way. So you come here and then you right click and then you'll be able to select new task. Now in this new task, you can actually put in the name of what you want to call it. So let me say remember, a task houses the programs. So let's assume I want to, the first one I was working on I did was tank control. We haven't even set our main program yet, forgive me for that. So let's say our main task, we want to just call it tank fill. All right, so you could put your description, and by default it's at periodic. So that's just to show you how that it's just one continuous task that you can actually create for your project in the controller. So now the type here is periodic. The period is set here to 10 milliseconds. Call it tank fill still. Now if you notice here, you will still see that it is a periodic task. So as you can see there, it's a periodic task, meaning that out of 32 tasks that can be run on a program, only one can be a continuous task. The rest has to be a periodic task. And if you come here to where you have the period, you notice that it's in 10 milliseconds. Now this period here actually tells us how long to wait before executing, before the task will be executed. So that's just what the period there means, and you could also leave it just like that. Now we have the priority, and then beside it states lower number yields higher priority. So this means that the lower the number, the higher the priority. So if it's at 1, let's assume 1. See, it's a very high priority, and so let's just leave it at 10. It is then watchdog. Remember what I told you about watchdog. So the watchdog actually is just a parameter that tells how long a task can run before triggering a major fault on the controller. So once we're done with this, we just click on OK. And now we will see that our main task, where we had our main task, is now called tank fill. And if you look closely, you would realize that it has a clock-like icon beside it to show that it is a periodic task. All right, so summarily, a continuous type runs when the periodic task is not called, and the periodic task runs, once, like the periodic task actually runs and interrupts the continuous task. So once the periodic task is called, the continuous task will be interrupted. That's just what it means.